Well, welcome, Colorado Proud members and supporters. This will be a really fun webinar because it's going to be very interactive. I just would like to share a couple slides at first, just before we get started. Our guest today is John Milin. He is the owner of Milin Family Farms. This is an email address you can reach him at, as well as the website for the program we're going to learn about today. Just a couple things, if when he's presenting, just mute your microphones. It does help eliminate some background noise. We want questions. We encourage them. Feel free to raise your hand, type them in the chat. And of course, we'll ask for questions. And John is a fantastic presenter. And so he is very willing to engage and share with you and chat with you through your questions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to him. And thank you so much, John, for doing this. I know you're very busy, and I think this is going to be a great webinar.
Yeah, for sure. Took the day off to make sure that I'd have time to be able to do this. So I'm trying to have it share screen now. I'm waiting on it to load. All right. Are you able to see the screen that I have up by chance?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
We can make it bigger would be great, but that's for me.
Let's see. I actually have it full screen, so I wonder if it's something in the display settings on sharing.
Maybe it's just me.
Let's see. Yeah, it says entire screen. Maybe if I do the just the tab instead. Does that look any better? Or is it the same?
I'm not seeing anything right now.
Okay. Is that any better by chance?
A bit, yeah. For me, let me see. Yep.
Okay.
I say let's
Sorry
go
about
for
that.
it.
So instead of doing the entire screen, I just changed it to the tab instead. Say good morning, everyone. I'm John Milin. I've been active duty since 2005. I'm a software engineer for the Space Force. Commissioned. I was enlisted from 05 to 14. I did submarine warfare out of the Pacific. All 7 deployments are all Westpacks. And then I got my engineering degree and commissioned into the Air Force in 2014. And then they moved me to the Space Force in 21. So I've done offensive cyber, defensive cyber, and then stood up a lot of capabilities with our coders at work. So we have a super coder program that Space Force runs. They send a lot of us through coding training. And then when we come out on the back end, they want us to be involved with all of our big companies like Lockheed, Booz Allen, Northrop, working side by side with those guys coding, so that way we have more control over our software that goes into our products. So I'm in control of the super coders at the National Space Defense Center. They're all cut over to me. And then I've been coding a long time myself, so I'm a nerd, and that's why I ended up coming up with this app. Just a quick 2-minute backstory. I had originally built this in February, March timeframe because I was mad I couldn't find Nubian Dolings. I'd searched probably 30 different Facebook groups, Craigslist, all kinds of different websites, and I'm like, it shouldn't be this hard to find a doe. So I ended up building this initially just as a livestock marketplace, just to buy, sell, trade. And if that's all you want to use it for, then that's perfectly fine. So like if I just want to buy a goat today, if I could type, then you can see which goats are available in the area. There's some on here. I don't see any Nubians, so that's fine. I ended up getting mine, but you can search within distance of you or your zip code, and you can also pull them up on the map. So that's just a basic functionality like what I originally designed it for in February, March timeframe. Should be as easy as logging in, saying, hey, I'm looking for a goat. So if I go to my profile here, I can see the things that I have for sale, and I can do the same for anybody else. I can go to their profile and see everything that they have for sale. I can send them a message, say, hey, that's exactly what I've been looking for. Can we meet up this weekend? Anything like that. But it's as easy as just creating a listing. Let's say for sale, and I have a goat. I have a bower, and he's 2. He's a male. This is a test listing, so we're not going to put anything actually in there. He's $100. I have one. And I'll allow a deposit of $20. And so I'll explain what that is in just a moment when this posts, because I added that in for protection. I have a basic goat picture on here somewhere that's not mine. So we'll upload and publish that, and then I'll mention what the deposit is. Okay, so that's how easy it was. It's posted. It's ready to go. Anyone can comment. Anyone can send me a message. Anyone can place a deposit on it. So actually, if I log out and come back with my admin account real quick, I'll be able to place a deposit on it if I want to. So place secure deposit. What this will do is I can either go ahead and place a $20 deposit now, and then $80 is due when I get there, and I can log in. Let's do test, my email address. Then it's going to take me to a payment screen, but I'm not actually going to pay. So the way that this actually works, I've built this in through escrow. It's called their secure escrow. So if you've ever ordered from Uber Eats and you require your delivery driver to give you a PIN when he shows up, so that way you make sure your food's actually getting to your house, this does the same exact thing. So when somebody buys a deposit, places a deposit rather, they'll get an email with a PIN, and they'll also get a PIN on here. And so then when they show up to my house and they're like, yep, that's the goat that I wanted, then I'll enter the PIN on here and hit capture funds. And if it matches, if it's the right PIN, it will then release that money from Stripe to me. So that way I can't get away with all the deposit scams that's been going on lately. They see them at least weekly on Facebook. They're like, hey, don't block this person. You know, they're posting cattle for sale, and they always say, hey, there's like 10 people interested, but if you'll give me a deposit of $100, I'll hold it for you till Friday. And people fall for this almost weekly. And so I always tell people, like, hey, I understand this is new. You've probably never heard of it, but if you try this, it works. Or you can just go meet them in person and don't give them a deposit. But I don't recommend just sending somebody you don't know money. So that's why I came up with the escrow deposit. I've actually used it myself twice now. I sold a goat through it, and I sold a lion head bunny because the lady that really wanted it lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and couldn't make it down to the weekend. And I just built this. And I was like, you know what? Actually, I will hold it for you because it'll help me out too. Let's test something. And so I sent her the link, and she paid the deposit, and it worked exactly as intended. I didn't get any funds until she came down to pick up the rabbit, gave me the pin, it released it, and then she gave me the other 25 in cash. And so just something small and easy that hopefully helps people out. I had a few people message me and say they were concerned from the buyer's side about there not being any protection from the buyer on that because they've had people do chargeback fraud. And so that is what these two things are built in for. So you have the option when you list something, if you're going to accept deposits, to do a verified identity required. So that means that they've done a background check with Stripe, which is free. You just have to post a picture of like your ID and like your basic information, and they'll verify that you are who you say you are. And then 3D secure payment required means that you can't charge it back or that your bank is responsible for it. And so for a transaction like this, I think it's very safe to do such a thing because you've already been there in person and you've seen the animal. You've given the pin to accept the animal. So I don't think you should be able to charge it back once you've now taken it home. If you decide 3 days later that, you know what, I don't have the money for this, or it's not a good fit, I don't really like this goat as much as I thought I would. And it's not a common thing that people get charged back, but it does happen. So just in case, I wanted to add that in there. It's just another safety mechanism to try and help folks out. I said now there's safety on the buyer and the seller side with the escrow deposit and with the 3D secure payment required. And you don't have to do that. That's an option when you're creating a listing. It's down here. Those are those things I clicked right here. You don't have to do that. You can ship things like if you do handcrafted. Some people do frozen meat boxes, things like that. So you can list things available to ship. I do have shipping built in through ShipStation. So it gives you the cheapest possible rates. And there's a couple of people I talked to that said that they always they buy the shipping themselves and they do the calculations on the front end. So like the meat box kind of already accounts for it. So free shipping is an option. But just things to try and make marketplace super easy. One of the other things I built in because I was looking for my does is seeking. So you can put in here what you're looking for. And then if anybody within this radius posts that, you'll get an automated notification. Here's your radius right here, so 100 miles. You'll get a notification and an email that says, hey, someone has posted your Nubian doeling within 100 miles with a link to it. So now I can go see what they've posted, how much they're wanting for it. And if it's something I'm looking for, I can shoot them a message and say, hey, this is exactly what I've been looking for. So pretty easy, straightforward. That was what I originally designed it for. Like I said, it has grown since. And one of the first things I added after talking to people that I'm hoping to be able to test out more is herd shares and CSAs. One of the main reasons I did this, I found out one of the main sites that folks wear, I won't name drop them here, but charges $100 a month plus 2% of everything you make to be able to put your CSA on there, which I think is egregious. So just like everything else on here, it doesn't cost anything. You can come in here and create your own share. You can manage your dashboard. So I created a fake one beforehand so you can see. So if I go to my shares dashboard, you'll see that I have a goat share. It's not actually real. I paid $1 to join it myself on my other account. I can see which members are in it. I've picked up one of two. I've put a date in here, a false date of like September 18th. I can post updates to anyone that's in it. So next milk now. And so all the members that are part of this herd share will receive this. I can go to my members and mark that I've picked up my second one. I can do the fulfillment ledger. I can see everything. It's super easy to manage. I'd love for someone that's actually doing CSAs or herd shares to give me feedback on this to make sure that it's as easy as I think it is. I said I don't actually have any myself. I just seen what people were charging to be able to use their websites, and I thought it was absolutely absurd. So it'd be great to see real feedback on here. And then what I've done too is I've built in contracts. You can test them out yourself before you do one. So that way if someone sides one, say I've got full veggies, so I'm a test farm, and then the person buying it's not real, and we'll put my house on here, that's fine. And so when a buyer pays for this, you will both get a copy of a digitally signed contract. I'll download that now. Since I'm not sharing my screen, I don't know if you can, did you actually see that pop up or? Perfect. So now you've got a digitally signed contract between both of you. It's got everything in here. It's got the dollar amounts, the pickup points, the times, everything's, oh, I forgot to add a county. Oh, well. So that'll fill in when you add the county. That should have been El Paso. And so you can see test and not real. But try to make everything as streamlined and as simple as possible. So before you ever actually create anything, you can come around. You can come in here and play around.
Can that contract be customized, John?
Absolutely.
If somebody has, I don't know, but they want different terms or something.
Yep. So you can edit it to be anything you want. I just did that for people that don't know anything about it or don't have time or just would like for it to be as simple as possible. Then there's just some basic bullet points in here that you can say, yeah, I'm going to do a cow milk herd share agreement, and read through it and be like, yep, that looks right. And then sign it out. But if you want to, when you actually create your CSA, you can, or herd share, you can edit this in any way you want. So if you wanted specific verbiage in there, if you wanted to take something out that just doesn't seem right, you're like, I don't even know what adjustment means. Let's remove that.
Okay.
So something you can do that's just easy and straightforward. Like I said, I would love feedback from those who have tried it. The whole goal is to make it free and to make it easy. And I try to put everything in evolution, so any updates I do are in here. And then I added, since I've added so many things over time, I've now got a resources page that puts stuff here. It's like fractional sales. When those went live, a lot of people don't know what fractional sales are. But if I want to create one, it's easiest to actually do it from the tools. So there's random tools up here I'll get into. But from fractional sales, like when I did hogs, your standard take-home yield is around 53%. They went in around 250 pounds. They range between 230 and 280. So all this is just basic. You can change it however you want. So maybe you only paid 20 bucks at auction for them. Maybe you paid 300 from somebody personally. This is all just kind of built in here to help you out. It's got the slaughter fees and the hauling cost. You can edit that again as much as you want. Say I want to make 20% profit on it. Tells you exactly what you need to list it for, $844.80. So we're going to use that calculator to list it. I can upload a cut sheet from my processor so folks can download that and fill it out and return it. And then let's fill this in. Fountain, Alaska. That's interesting. So we'll publish it. Oh, I didn't put any. Not a real one. Test. Oh, come on. Well, good news is my fields work. Won't let me publish it without real information. So what I can do now, made fractional buying super easy. So if I want to go in here and just buy a quarter of a share of a hog, I can do that. What this will do is it will pay the producer 1/4 of that price, and then mine will be reserved. So that way when they take it to slaughter, I own a quarter of that animal, and it does not have to be a USDA certified processor. Since I own the animal, it can be a custom exempt processor. and then I'll pick it up from the producer when they're done. So all this is built in, so that way, because I did it myself, that was where this idea came from. I raised 10 hogs for about 10 months. I processed them at the end of June. But yeah, I was doing everything on paper, through emails, text messages, meeting in person, signing stuff, writing stuff down, handing cash, Venmo, PayPal, you name it. And I was like, man, this was a circus. And all I did was 10 pigs. So in my mind, I'm trying to think of like big producers. What if you've got a lot of cattle, you've got pigs, you've got, sheep, other things. It'd be way easier if I could just come in here and say, yep, I want a quarter of a share and buy it. And then now in their dashboard on the flip side, they'll see what's been filled and by who, and what has not been filled, how much is left, so on and so forth. But I tried to make that as easy and straightforward as possible. Again, using all the legal vernacular there of, I own the animal before it goes to the processor, and just try to make it as straightforward and as easy as possible. Now I don't have to do all the in-person and signing stuff and spreadsheets, because it'll keep everything for me as a record. I can download the PDF of that as well, just like anything else, just like any other sale. It'll be in my transactions, and I can download it. So I've got transactions here, so I can just download my receipt, and you can see that. Scroll past their email because I don't want their personal information on there, but you can see that it was paid. Above, it's got the date and the time, and then above, it's got the location and everything else. So if you want, for any transactions you do, you'll always be able to download a receipt, and it'll work the same for fractional sales as well.
That's incredible, because I think a lot of animal producers, it can be a struggle, right? Like you've explained, maybe you're selling beef and you do halves, quarters, wholes, etc. But this gives you a way to calculate what you should possibly be charging, right? And put everything in there. Now, what protection does the buyer have? They have a receipt that they've paid, or and then what else? I mean, what other kind of protections would the buyer have, and the seller?
So right now I've got it set up the same way. It defaults to the Stripe escrow.
Okay.
So you have to have the PIN. But I've had some producers tell me that they need the money up front to cover fuel and other things. And so I'm trying to work through the logistics of the best way to do that where both parties are happy. So with the Stripe PIN required, the buyer's happy because they're like, hey, I know this isn't a fake producer. Because anybody could just come here and create a profile and say, hey, I raise pigs, and list it for sale, but it's not real. And so you fall into that same trap before. Part of that also is where I'm building in the trust piece. So where I've got my Stripe identity verified, I'm going to add in multiple other things. So like if you're a member of Colorado Proud, that list is public. And so you can click in your profile, yes, I'm a member, and then you'll have a Colorado Proud badge pop up here. Rocky Mountain Farmers Union said that would be good to add them as well. Colorado Farm Bureau, USDA, really anything that will lend credence to this person having a real farm that they run. And so if they have all that, we thought about dropping the PIN being required, because then you can prove, they run an actual operation. They've got proof of it. They're on, 4 different organizations. They've been doing business for years. Things like that. It's the hardest part right now because the app is new and it's just started. And so when a lot of people go on here and they see a farm, they're like, how do I know that place is real? So right now I have it set with the PIN. But we're looking for ways to make that better.
Okay. Interesting.
Building trust is a big piece of that. So as the owner, I'm able to see this. So I can see how many animals I have in my fractional sales, how many stakes there are. So right now it's at 0%. So if one person, when I tested it out, like I went in 2 different accounts and bought a quarter each, so I could see there was 2 stakes and it would show 50%. And then it would break out on the right the 2 people who had bought the 25%. So I could actually see it in there.
Fantastic.
But yeah, that's one of the main things is I want to build trust. Because when I talked to the RMFU about it, I mentioned to them and she agreed, like, hey, what if someone from Denver downloads this app and they want to buy local food? It's like, well, that's great. That's one of the target audiences for this. But how do you then know the people that you're going to click? Like if I go to Farm Fresh Meat and Eggs here, there's random stuff here. There's pork, there's lamb, there's eggs. Well, how do I know that I'm actually going to get any of these if I pay for it? So it'd be good to have that on there. And a lot of these don't have shipping available anyway. Like you've got to go get it. which is fine. That's they're allowed to do that. So I can look on the map and see I live here. Well, there's some eggs here. Got a ranch here with Berkshire pork. I've got some eggs here. So if I want to go get some Berkshire pork, I mean, it's less than 20 miles away. I can send them a message and say, hey, I'm interested in your pork. Can I swing by? And that's another huge key of the app that I once it gets more mainstream. Right now, we're only at about 150-ish users. Haven't really done any advertising other than kind of in person, handing out flyers and posting in some Facebook groups before it gets banned as spam.
Sure.
But both for producers and consumers to be able to use, because if it's all producers on here, then it doesn't do any good. It's just us.
Right.
But if you're able to add a lot of consumers as well, like I said, because that's how I got the idea originally. My buddy from work added the app. He heard me talking about it and was like, hey, I downloaded your app and found out there's a farm, less than 3 miles from me that has fresh eggs and beef and milk. And he's like, I'm going to stop by on Friday and get some. I was like, hey, that's a good point. Like, this shouldn't just be for livestock. You could put everything in here, like anything that you produce. You produce vegetables, fruit, you name it. You can add it in here, and then a consumer could buy it. So that's how it then eventually moved on from just being livestock to anything on a farm. And so it's, like I said, slowly grown over time. Here lately, I've been messing around with tools and property assets just for fun. So
okay.
Here's my farm. I'm pulling in GIS information for my tract. So I'm able to, I've put boundaries and everything else on here. You can see what's been excluded to my exclusion zones. If I zoom back out, you can see all the tools you have available. So I've got boundaries, management zones, herds, head counts. I can rotate them around. It's like I don't really have cattle fields. I did this just to show. So I've got cattle on, a quarter of an acre, not really, but I can just move them over to this other one over here, confirm the move. It's going to rotate it for me. It's going to log everything. So I'm able to keep all the logs. I'm able to download those logs. So I talked to a few people that said that there's software out there that charges a lot of money for something like this. And I was like, that's ridiculous. It's not hard to code up at all. It's just rotations in the database. So I'll throw it on here for free. Tell me if it looks good or not. Use it if you want. You don't have to pay anything for it. So anyone can come in here and add things that are on their farm. So like the 2 cattle things I have here are not real, and like the cornfield is not real. The rest of it is, though, like my turkeys and my goats and my chicken coop and I keep all my bucks separate. But one of the reasons I have that in here too is not just to be able to keep track of, but any of the tools I have built, it imports all that stuff automatically. It's like if you're familiar with the feedstock CI calculator that the USDA has. It's really confusing. You got to download a spreadsheet, you got to download a PDF, and you got to follow all kinds of other stuff. And it's a little ridiculous. So if I just want to sync everything from my tools, I can do that automatically and then calculate my score.
Okay.
And if I want proof of that, then I've got it right here. And I can turn that in. Also, easy as the MIT-less Act. So everything's already in here. It pre-populates with all of my information. If I had a USDA farm number, which I don't, it would be here. But it logs all of my animals, everything that's applicable. You can add livestock groups. And just like before, super easy. We're going to export that to a PDF packet. And there you go. Go turn that into your local office. Breaks down all the math calculations so you know it's not something ridiculous. If I actually had cattle, that would be my projected reimbursement. But I'm not actually rotating cattle. So this is strictly for demonstration. I only have goats and poultry, and my hogs are gone. But if you do rotate cattle, you do graze. This is something that's super easy to use. I mean, that took me how long to do? About 10 seconds. And then your NRCS office, if you don't know where one's at, built that in here too. So you can go to your local office and turn that in. There you go. Super easy. So it's just fun to play around with. Like I said, I added this stuff bored at hockey games over the summer. Normally I coach, but I didn't coach over the spring and summer because my son was in a different organization. I didn't know what to do as a parent that just sits in the crowd. Normally I'm always on the ice. Actually, I'll be on the ice this evening. I'm excited about it. Hockey season starts back today.
That's cool.
But yeah, I just built it as much as I could. I talked to the USDA, so they gave me the API headers for all their auction markets. So if you're curious, these are the ones that they record in Colorado. Obviously, everything else is available on here too, but it's free public knowledge. I just brought it onto here because it's easy if you're already here. But like I said, it's just stuff I've been working on. The main thing for me now is to stop adding features and to master them. So I need to reach out and find people, like I said, that have CSAs and be like, hey, is there any way you try this? And just bring a couple people over and just tell me, is it easy or not? And provide feedback. Like, is this what you'd want to use? Is this easy? Is this hard? Is it straightforward? So I say, I think $100 a month and 2% of everything you make on a CSA is egregious. So how about zero? Sounds a lot better to me. The latest thing that I've built that I want waiting to talk to the Department of Education about is the SFA Hub. So it's for farm to schools. So this will help schools be able to find food locally very easy and be able to help pretty much any producer jump in. Because right now the way that it works, from talking to a lot of people, is there's a lot of large contracts that are set up well in advance, and they go through the RFP and the bidding process to get large producers on board, and they'll be able to provide local foods for those schools for the school year. But with doing that, it ends up falling quite short of what their goals are. Because a lot of times they'll run short on carrots or pork or beef or you name it. So where the idea for this came from is just to make this super simple. All an SFA has to do is log in and say, hey, I need, so let's say ground beef. I'm willing to pay $4 a pound. I need 1,000 pounds of it, and we'll do 150-mile radius, and I need it by August 19th launch. That's it. It's done. So here's my pool right here. If I'm a producer and I'm within 150 miles, I immediately get pinged on the app that there's a pool that's available for me to jump in. And so they're looking for 1,000 pounds. I could come in here and say, hey, I've got 200. I'm able to provide that. Actually, I already have an example built up here. So you can see that some of it's pooled. And if I bring it down, you'll see that two fake farms provided 150 pounds and provided 200 pounds. They've chosen so you can give them drop-off dates and times. So I put in a dock slot of September 1st. I can verify that they've done that. So bam, there we go. They've dropped it off. So both people have now been paid. So the way that'll work as well, the producer won't be paid until the school verifies that they've received it. So that way there's no fake bids. Someone saying, oh, I've got 500 pounds. Great. You won't actually get it until you actually deliver it. And so same thing as everything else before. There's an audit PDF that'll be attached to all of those. So when you download it, you'll see what track they fell under. So it was under 15,000. It pulls all the legal regulations that falls under. You can see what I requested, 1,000 pounds total within 150 miles. And this is the one I just made, so there's nothing on there. But if people have bought it, so let me do the one below. That one will work better because it's at least got the fake farms on it, you can see. So same thing, it was under 15,000. You can see here's the two farms that provided 200 pounds, 150 pounds, and they've been paid out because we verified that we received it. And so in my mind, it's something that's really easy. It could be flexible. It could be fast. Like, hey, next week we need potatoes. We're out of potatoes. And so anybody within a radius could jump in. Like me, I only have a 5-acre farm, but I did 10 hogs, so I've got 4 freezers full of pork. So that's something that I could easily jump in on. Like, I'm not a huge producer with hundreds of acres, but still provides me the opportunity if someone's looking for sausage. I've got hundreds of pounds of sausage. I can provide. When I was doing research before from Nourish, Colorado, they have things on their website published where you can look and find out, how to sell to schools. And they've done a good job of putting it all in there, but it's still a lot of work. You still got to do research to find out what the schools are serving on their menu, who the head cooks are, who the contacts are to try and reach out to find out if you're able to sell to them, when you can sell to them, exactly what they're looking for, what's the contractual obligations. There's just so much stuff involved that, this would just make it a million times easier. Like, hey, we need potatoes next week. Okay, I got them. Bam, done. It should be that easy. And so that's my goal when I talk to the Department of Education in 2 weeks to see if we can do a trial for some schools in the area and say, hey, we'll let producers know that this is up and coming, so that way they're not just publishing, out into the ether and no one's there. Trying to let people know ahead of time, hey, we're going to do, 3 schools, one in Denver, one in Colorado Springs, one in Pueblo. I don't know, just pick some. And then they can put something in here for pork or for beef or really whatever they're looking for. Make it realistic. Whatever you need. If you're looking for carrots, put carrots in. Or Palisade peaches because they're in season right now and they're delicious. And let folks know. And that way they can all come in here and they can jump in and make it easy. Everything will be saved. Everything, like I said, you'll have your PDF receipts of everything. But just try to make it as straightforward and as easy as possible. And then the point of doing that trial run with just a couple of schools, so we can see if did anything in here not work as intended. So everything I've always test everything internally. So I have multiple accounts that I can switch between. I've got like 3 fake emails that run fake farms that I can go in and I'll pay for stuff with real money, but it's always small, no more than $20, just to make sure that everything works as it should. Because I can log into Stripe, I can see that Stripe is holding the money until I verify the delivery has been made, and then it releases the money. Same as the escrow pin. When I was testing that out to begin with, had issues with it releasing it immediately and had to play with it a lot to get it to work to where it wouldn't release it until you got the pin. But as I've learned through work, being a coder and being a software engineer and everything, like we test it plenty of times and it works great. And then you throw it in the live environment or production environment, something in there just doesn't work as it should. And you don't know until you run it. So I don't want to go far and wide with this thing and say, hey, we should hit the ground running and invite every school. And I don't want to do that, because then if there's something in there that's broken and everybody's affected by it, it just becomes a huge nightmare. And so start out small, start out with a couple of schools, make sure nothing's broken. If it is, fix it. And then report our findings to the Department of Education, Department of Agriculture, and the others involved, and say, hey, this worked great. Here's our feedback. The schools liked it because it was simple. Producers liked it because now there's a new avenue to sell to that wasn't previously available. So like I said, there's some large producers that are already involved in this, and they're doing the RFPs and they're doing the bidding and the contracts, but you're leaving out probably 80 to 90% of the farmers in the state, though, that are smaller scale, that do have products but can't really get to schools or other institutional buyers. Prisons are included in that. DOD is actually included in that. I looked up that as well. So all of our bases around Schriever, Peterson, Buckley, the Academy, they all get funds back if they buy locally. So they are incentivized to buy local food. That opens up a whole new avenue for producers to be able to sell through. So if you're having trouble selling your beef locally, there's a whole lot of it you could sell to institutional buyers. So my goal is to be able to get this widespread within a month or two. I said we need time to set up a trial, run the trial, make sure everything works, get that feedback, incorporate it. Because like I said, too, being the creator, it might look perfect to me, but then somebody that's been doing this for 5 or 10 years, as a food hub or somebody else like North Colorado, I believe they're the technical service provider I saw. They might say that, hey, it would be a lot easier if you tweaked this instead. But, oh, okay, I can do that. And so having that insider knowledge would help a lot and go a long way.
I think that's fantastic. I did want to see, so how does somebody sign up? Can you just maybe walk us through, if you're a producer for whatever, you're growing vegetables, fruits, livestock, how does somebody sign up?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of information are they going to need to provide?
Absolutely. So I can either create a new account with Register Now, or you can continue with Google or Apple. And I did that as well to make it easier for the apps on the phone. So like if you downloaded it on Android, you can easily continue with Google, or if you downloaded it on iOS, you can easily continue with Apple. But once you create your account and sign in, excuse me, if you go to your dashboard, it should take you here automatically when you begin. If not, then I'll make sure that that's fixed. You can edit some small stuff like your cover. I didn't want to make it like a Facebook clone, but just having a few pictures or something of you and your farm kind of helps. But when you edit your profile, you have the option up here. So we've got individuals that register that are just looking to buy things. I'm registered as a farm/ranch/producer. This is for future use for processors. So I've loaded them all on here, but none of them have joined yet. I've talked to a few. So like when I did my hogs late June, they said they'd be interested in joining because it would help them schedule. So producers could reach out to them directly on here and say, hey, I've got hogs coming up that I'd like to process. What do you have available? And they could just look at their calendar on there and see, like, okay, I've got, so here's calendar. I don't have anything on mine. I'm slacking. But if you're a processor, you could put on here who's coming and when you have openings, and then someone could easily reserve slots. And then institutional buyers, what I just added for the school, so that they actually have a different homepage. If you want to participate in like the Midwest Act and the tools and stuff, you can turn these on. Like I said, I've only got 5 acres, mostly do goats, so I'm not too concerned. I was NPIP certified. I was so busy with work, I did not have them come out and do the inspection this year, but that is an option. That badge is built in. So if you put in your MPIP registration name and the certification number, that's saved in the database, so it'll just match that. And then you'll have a badge up here that says MPIP certified. So just some small things like that. If you have a USDA PIN or track number, anything like that, you can add those in here. Just more information. Like I said, building that credibility, building that trust. I'm going to add the thing down here. There's not a current checkbox for Colorado Proud, RMFU. I'm going to add those. So that'll also display. Like I said, we want to build that trust. Someone new joins the app, and like I said, they're looking for food and don't really know if I'm a real place or not. Hopefully it helps out when they see all the other stuff that's up there. Like, oh, okay, he's a member of all these different organizations. He's in the community. Great. My Stripe is connected. I've got my Venmo. So if you want to pay out via Venmo, you can do that as well. It's automatically built in. So I'll save that. The calendar actually reminds me. So I built in split buying, and that's something I want to test out as well at the farmers market this weekend. So what you can do is, let's see, where's a good example? Because I asked somebody to update their calendar specifically so I could do this right here. So if I want to buy this, let's see. Dang, he changed it back. It's not on his calendar anymore. Okay. So what it'll do, if you have something available for local pickup that you can buy, it'll automatically pull from their calendar to show where they're going to be. And so say they're going to be at the Colorado Springs Farmers Market on Saturday. And I select it. Yep, I want to buy these eggs for local pickup. What it'll do then, it'll ask me to either check out or continue shopping. If I hit continue shopping, it'll then filter by anybody else that will be at the Colorado Springs Farmers Market on Saturday. And so then I can buy other things from other people and check out in one cart, and it will split disperse all those things to all those producers. They'll have a receipt for each individual purchase, and I'll have one large receipt for the total purchase. And all I got to do is show up on Saturday and walk around to each stand and pick out what I want. So I've done that to make it easier, A, to buy things ahead of time at the farmer's market, and then B, on the producer side, easier to know what to bring. Because sometimes we just bring like a little bit of everything. Like I don't know who else is going to be there, so I'm going to bring some duck eggs, I'm going to bring some chicken eggs, and then maybe, 2 cuts of each thing I have from a hog, because I don't know if maybe today people want ribs, maybe they want sausage, there's no telling. But if I have people pre-purchase ahead of time, then I know, hey, I've got 9 pounds of sausage that's already pre-sold I've got to bring with me. And then everything else I can kind of randomize as necessary. But I looked it up. Now I talked to people at the farmers markets, and they said that something like that doesn't already exist. So it would be really cool if it did. And so I've implemented that. I just haven't had a chance to actually test it out yet. Looking at that calendar reminded me I have it synced to the calendars automatically. So if you put it in there where you're going to be, you'll have the ability to do that. So like somebody, when I did it before, I wish I could find which one it was. They had like a farm stand you could pick it up at. They had a farmer's market you could pick it up at. And they had like a food hub in Pueblo that you could pick it up at. There's 3 different locations. And so then, like I said, if I wanted to continue shopping and click any of those locations, then it will filter out the other items that are available at that same place. So that way I could buy whatever I want in one easy purchase ahead of time and just go pick it up. I feel like that would be pretty easy, pretty helpful.
Very interesting. Does anybody have any questions for John, or would you like him to go to a specific part of this program and talk about it? Allison, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Hi, John.
Hey, how are you?
Nice to see. Good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Just staying busy. It's nice to have a day off.
Yeah. I don't. This doesn't really seem like a day off, but you do you, John. I'm glad to see you being productive on your day off. Um, just curious and thinking about schools and a lot of producers putting it on this pooled idea of everyone. If a school needs 100 pounds of ground beef and a couple different producers answer that call, is there like a functionality for transportation and like how? Because a lot of schools might not have the ability or the transport modes of transportation to get to all these farms to pick stuff up.
So right now, and it may change based on the pilot. Right now, it's defaulted to it's the producer's responsibility to drop it off. And so the schools will put in there the drop-off locations and times that are available, and then the producers can choose from those. So like if they have, Friday morning at 8 o'clock, I think was the example I had in this one, or, Sunday afternoon at 3, whatever times works, and where, the loading dock or the kitchen or whatever it may be, then the producers can click that and it'll show down here under the participating farms that which ones they've selected. So that way they know when to be there. If we run the pilot and it turns out that it was too hard for producers to make that, or they had to pay for external transportation or something like that, then we'll look at changes. But for now, the easiest way to do it was for the producer just to bring it to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I'm glad you thought through that. And I think too, maybe this will come out of your meeting with Colorado Department of Ed, but I feel like, a conversation with Nourish, because they are the technical assistance provider, and particularly Chef Jess at Nourish could be really beneficial for you too.
Yeah, it'd be great to be able to reach out to them and talk to them. Because like I said, having that insider knowledge, me being on the outside, I built the whole thing based off of publicly available documentation from the USDA, from the Colorado Department of Ag, and other resources. So everything I've built is from the outside looking in. But you've got people that have been doing this for years, so they'll have a completely different viewpoint. Like they might look at it and say, "Oh, this is amazing," or they could look at it and be like, it's a good start, but we're missing, 3 or 4 different things. Which, okay, that's good to hear. Like I need to know that. So hopefully that works out pretty well. Looking forward to trying that pilot out.
Yeah, I love the aspect that you could engage several producers, right? That would be great, because I think it's hard sometimes for people to know that there is a need, and then also what the requirements are. Nourish has done an outstanding job, as has CDE, but it's still, for smaller producers, even larger, it can be a bit of a unknown if they've never done it before. So
right, trying to bridge that gap and make it as easy as possible.
Definitely.
Like I said, hopefully open the doors for more people too. Because if they see it's just as simple as looking at pools that are available, there could be a school 20 miles away that's looking for sausage. Well, now I can provide.
Well, and with propositions LL and MM, there is considerable funds available to these schools that have chosen to participate, to get local foods into their schools. And wouldn't that be cool if all of our schools had as much local as possible? I mean, not everything is possible, but as much as possible.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. And that's something too that I believe it was 15 million from LL and MM, if I recall. It was a little more, but the rest was for training and for other stuff. Sure. I think it was like 23, but like 8 of that was for training and personnel and lots of other stuff. But I think 15 was directly for food. And so would love to see that get used, because that helps everybody involved. It helps the schools, it helps the producers, it helps the kids at school. I mean, definitely. I would have loved to have had quality food. I think back to our school lunches growing up, my kids would have died. I mean, I think actually I missed that pizza. I don't even know if it was real. That square looking pizza, I don't know.
Well, a lot has changed, I think, at school meals. Certainly back in my day, they were actually making the food in the kitchen, and that's changed due to the expansion of our population. But very cool. Now, who all can list on here? You've obviously mentioned farmers, ranchers. Who else?
So anyone that wants to. So I've got some people on here that just have chickens and eggs. I was like, that's perfectly fine, because they were like, well, I'm concerned because there's other eggs on here. I was like, yes, but if you look at the map, like a lot of people are spread out. Like maybe you have the only eggs in La Junta. Maybe you have the only Easter egg or laying hens, within 50 miles. So even if you have something that others have, look at the area around you. It could be, you might be one of the only ones that actually has something in that area. And so as we start to fill out, like I said, it's still a fairly new app. I haven't really advertised it much, so there's not as much available on here as I want. But hopefully that comes over time. Hopefully I eventually get some funds to be able to do some advertising.
How does a buyer, a consumer, sign up in the same way? Like, because obviously we want to try to, like you're trying to do, is connect these producers with people who are looking to eat locally, buy locally. So how does that work?
it'll be the exact same way. You just create an account, and when it comes in here to have you build your profile, you just switch it to individual. And so I'm just a person. I'm here to get some food or some eggs or whatever it may be. And then it's that easy. And then for the SFAs, they'll do the same thing. So they'll institutional buyer, you put in your funding pipeline, your school district, details about you. Then I think I have one set as that already. Let me look. That one. Yes. So my homepage is different as an institutional buyer. It goes straight to this. So this is my account's name is Test. Okay. So your normal name would be up there, but I can create any pools, launch any pools. So I can look at everything I've been wanting. I've got my rules down here. And I've got a lot of stuff uploaded to the database that'll check all of this, like all the rules, like 15,000 a year can only go to a producer, and it's aggregated, so that's not just one purchase. So if you buy $10,000 from them at one point, and then 6,000 at another point, you've now passed that 15K. Gotcha. So we'll save all that in the database as the year's going to kind of flash a warning, like, hey, you've hit that mark with this particular producer, so you need to change tracks. It's no longer a micro purchase anymore. It's now a simplified acquisition. And so try to make it as easy and streamlined as possible. Like I said, I know that that's not always the case. I did see.
How many non-producers would you say have signed up?
Quite a bit. I would say not quite half. Probably about 30 to 35%.
Okay.
And even though I haven't advertised, word must still be getting out somehow, because I've had actually people join the app specifically to message me and say, like, hey, I saw these rabbits you've got. Is there any way we can meet up sometime, maybe this weekend, or are you going to be at a farm swap or something that I can come pick up this rabbit home? Yeah, absolutely. And so I've had people download the app just to reach out. And it's kind of the reverse too. It cracks me up. Like, people will have the app and then they'll be like, oh, I was trying to find you forever on Facebook so I could send you a message. It's like, well, you could have done it on the app, but I get it. Like, people have been using Facebook for how long now? Like 20 years or almost, something like that. And so some people are just used to what they've already got.
Right.
So it's really hard for the mentality. Like, even though a lot of people have seen it, and they're like, oh, this is a million times easier than Facebook, but I'm comfortable on Facebook. I've used it for so long. I've been in these same groups for so long. I know all the people in it. And I told those people too, like, you don't have to leave Facebook. Like, I still have a Facebook. I'm still in all those groups too, just because we haven't got to the member count that we're hoping for here. But let's see.
Well, do we have any other questions or anything you'd like to chat with John about? I mean, that's why we've got him here, is he's developed this program, which fascinating.
If not, I was going to show you another thing I built in.
Yeah,
so
do it.
I noticed a lot of the farm swaps and farmers markets we go to, everybody uses Stripe and a lot of other stuff. And all those take fees from you. And so what I've done is, on the mobile app, you can actually have a buyer scan to pay for your item. And what it'll do, since I still use Stripe, is it actually passes that to the buyer instead as a convenience fee. And I've had a couple buyers be like, oh, that's not fair. And I was like, well, if you look at literally every other business in America, that's how it runs.
Yes.
Like, if you buy gas with a credit card, you're paying extra. If you go to Starbucks and buy a coffee with your credit card, you're paying extra. So why should
whether
farmers
you know it or not, you are paying extra?
You are. I've tested it. It's true.
Yes.
And so what a lot of people don't realize is that farmers and a few other small, like, niche things are the only ones that are absorbing that hit. So everybody else has passed it on to the consumer. But for some reason, farmers are still expected to take that hit, and I don't know why. And so,
does Stripe take any percentage of the sale?
So they do, but what I did instead is I passed it to the buyer. So that way the producer never takes a hit on anything.
Gotcha.
And so it's always a convenience fee to the buyer. And so what I have here is, this is looking at like the mobile version of my storefront. So these are things that I'll take with me when I go to farm swaps. Like, I'll take turkeys and all that other stuff. It's like, if I want to add that, you can see if somebody wants to pick it up there, they can. But if I want to do 2 turkeys and then proceed to check out, show the QR code to the buyer. They just scan that and they'll pay.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can see that or not, but instead of being $30, it was actually $31.50.
Yes.
And it's passing that to the buyer. So that way, as the producer, you're not getting hit with that.
Interesting.
And I've also made it where you can edit that, because I know sometimes we wheel and deal. Like, I mean, I did the same thing yesterday. I only had 3 turkeys left, and somebody was kind of on the fence. Like, I don't know if I want all 3 or just 2. So it was like, well, you know what? I'll give you that third one for only $5 because I don't want to take one home alone.
Right.
And so then you can edit the cart when you have it pulled up before they scan it and change the total value in there. So instead of being 45 for 3 turkeys, I could change it to 35. And the same thing, they could just scan it. And when they scan it, that gives them the ability to check out any way they want. So if they're using Google Pay, Apple Pay, Venmo, however they want to do it, it's up to them. But I implemented that solely so that way, if you're out somewhere, you know, or if you're standing at your freezer and someone's buying something, they don't have cash, you know, same thing applies. They can just scan your QR code. That's good to go.
Nice.
And then one last thing that is not public, if you log out to another account, it's not there. Or if you've noticed, like on your account. So these 2 bubbles up here are not on any other accounts. They're only on my admin account and on my actual farm account. It's because I'm working on them. So the NRCS compliance, when I spoke to the NRCS, they have the same problems a lot of others do. It's really complicated. A lot of paperwork involved, a lot of inspections. So what I did just to start out is I added like 3 different SEMAs in here. Just to play around and see if I can get it to work. So the good news is I did get it to work. So what it does, when I showed you earlier the property asset where I can go in here and edit everything, add my cows and my corn and my exclusion zones and all that, all that is pulled over automatically to the NRCS tools. So if I wanted to do, you know, like feral swine eradication, you know, I've got on here that I've got a trap and I've got a camera. I can take pictures with my phone and upload them and log an incident. And then say, I can upload the photo, and what it'll do is it'll take the lat long from my photo and verify that it's actually in my property. So that way it lets me know that it's real. And then when I go to export that, if I want to take this into the NRCS office to be reimbursed for the damage that happened, it's got all the information on here. It'll include my photographs. It'll include the damage that's been done. It'll have the coordinates, and then it was verified via lat long. And it makes it as simple as just printing this out and handing it in. So you don't have to do all that stuff anymore. You don't have to log everything in your tractor. You don't have to write everything down, go back and find pertinent pictures and attach it. It's all right here. And so there's details on what is SEMA 297, how does it work. But I did the same thing for multiple SEMAs, just see if I could get it to work right, and it did. So same thing for like a grazing evaluation. You can put in all your information, pulling from NOAA automatically in the background. So it's able to tell me like the weather for the area. I have no idea what it has Lafayette, Indiana on there. We'll change that. But it'll let you know if you've been in a drought or not. It has all that automatically logged in here. And super easy. So I've got, again, my GIS is pulled over. I've got all my information that's pulled in. I can save everything. I've got all my tables. I've got all my grazing events. And then just like everything else, I can save it. I can sync it from my master profile. I can download it. Here's a narrative draft for the 219. So people asked if I used AI. You can see it right there, invoking Gemini 3.5 to compile a first-person narrative. So that way, if you don't want to write up your own narrative, this will do it for you. So it takes all and it compiles it and writes it out.
Interesting.
So I did use AI in 3 places. So I used it here. I used it in uploading photographs. Since it's just me, I don't have time to moderate everything. And so when someone uploads a photograph, I have AI scanning it. That's why if you've used this and uploaded anything, you notice it kind of takes a minute. It's making sure there's no pornography, violence, anything like that really just shouldn't be on the app. It'll auto block it if so. If not, it'll through. So I have it there as well. And then I'm awful at design. Absolutely. It would take me months, even though I know how. It uses React Tailwind CSS, which I've used before, but I am awful. It would take me forever. So to avoid spending 3 months to build out just what this looks like, I told AI to do it. Like, hey, I need a toolbar up top that's going to have different things in it. I need to be able to list out different items that are for sale, and I'd like to have a map to incorporate it on. So like basic stuff like that, I used AI for. But all the background coding, everything was easy because like I said, I've coded for a long time. I've got Android Studio here with all my Kotlin and all my Java and everything in it. The app's wrapped in capacitor. iOS uses Swift package manager. So I have all my code base saved on GitHub. I have it saved locally. But yeah, some simple things like that. Like I said, I don't have the time to moderate every single picture. And then what if I'm at work? Somebody uploads like some stuff that should not be there. I'm not going to see it until I get off work.
Right.
So small things like that. It's a good place to use AI where it has a good function. One of the big things I've noticed lately, like random apps that are, I wouldn't say similar, but like doing smaller things. Like I've seen a lot of people sharing lately. Like there's a herd share app. It costs like $20 a month, and here's a 14-day free trial and all that. And the reason why is because they have to pay the AI bill. That's why it costs $20 a month. They have to account for every user is going to use. They'll do the math and say they're going to use probably $11 worth of the AI that's feeding it. And so to make a profit off of it, I've got to charge 20. And so you'll see all these random small AI apps that are just popping up everywhere. And it's, in a way, it's good. Like if somebody can get good at it and come out with something that's useful. But what's bad is a lot of times that it's just people that don't have any knowledge of how any of it should work, and they just tell AI like, "Hey, I need an app that does this."
Yeah.
So the
Well,
quality.
then it doesn't make sense, right? It kind of is disjointed.
Yep, 100%. And then they can't fix it if something breaks too.
Right.
So if you're curious from that last SEMA tool where I had it draft everything for me, so here's what the AI drafted for me. So I compiled all my weather data, compiled all my farm information. If I actually had cattle, which I don't, I said it's fake. Calculates a lot of stuff for me, like how long they grazed for, the AUMs, a lot of other stuff, how it moved, weather.
That's not showing.
Oh, wonder why.
We see your, pardon me, we see like your main page.
Okay. Let me go to share. But I can change it to that. Don't know if it's big enough to see.
Yep. Okay. So we see that.
Okay. So AI printed this entire report out for me to be compliant with SEMA 219 rotational grazing. So it took all my information. It roped in NOAA. It roped in drought information, all my grazing information, and compiled everything. The weather station logs over time. Kind of gave all my stuff that's in my tools there. And then it typed up this for me. So it gives me information. So what I've done, it tells me everything. It compiles all the information, and you do have the option to edit this. So this is just to give people a rough start. So when I did research, when I talked to NRCS, they said the reason why a lot of folks are put off and actually don't do conservation efforts, even though it's good for the environment, is because of how much work is required to log with them and prove it. And so the goal then was to make it way easier and straightforward. Like, hey, if all you had to do was every time you rotate your cattle, come into the app and tap that you rotated them. And then eventually when you want to turn the report in, you generate the report and it compiles all this and writes it for you. And that's super easy. Now you're not having to keep logs anymore. You're not having to write everything down. Like I say, everything's all in here. It took all the weather over the past, the drought conditions, it typed all that up. But just another tool. Like I said, it's not public yet because I haven't finished what I wanted to work on. But it's got my paddocks in here, my cattle. It's got the heights in and out. Just a lot of other stuff.
Those are really useful.
But like I said, hopefully it ends up being usable. I said if you log into the app today, you won't see these two.
Sure.
Just because it's what I'm working on.
Well, hopefully we can really get this out and get more users, both buyers and producers, and really grow this across the state.
I hope so. That'd be nice.
There's so many things on here that people can use. Lee or Corey, do you have any other questions or anything you'd like to have John talk about? John, is there anything else you'd like to share before we go? This was great.
I don't think so. I think I covered pretty much everything, at least off the top of my head. I know we covered how to buy and sell, how to list items, how to do fractional sales, all the tools that are available, the property asset tool, herd share, CSAs, the plans for the selling to schools that's coming up here shortly. Really, the only other thing, I mean, events are logged on here too. So if you want to create an
Nice.
event or RSVP to an event or find events, they're all on here. So some of them
Nice.
are farmers markets, some of them are farm swaps, some of them, you name it, it works the same. Just go up to create an event instead of listing. And so you can add your event here, what type it is. So I've had people put, U-Picks on here, and they sold tickets for it. So that same thing, it's through Stripe and it passes it to the buyer. So ticket price $20. Put in all your information, a farm dinner, a workshop. So I've had somebody do on here like a chicken processing class that they did, and they sold, 5 to 10 tickets. And it just makes it super easy, and you can share it. You can share the link to anyone. Say, hey, I'm doing a
Nice.
workshop on how to clean chickens. You can buy a ticket here, and it's got all the information.
Nice.
Really, I think that's the only thing I didn't touch on, but it's pretty straightforward. Same thing with farm stands. You can add your farm stand on here. So I know some people have, not a lot, which is fine.
Yeah, definitely.
So, go to farm stands, there's some there. And you're able to see what they've got available. They've got pictures and prices. And just try to make it as simple and as streamlined as possible. Like I said, feedback's always good. I did get a lot of feedback early when I first published it, from stuff that looked really good on my end, and then people would send me screenshots of them using it like on their phone. And they're like, man, did you test this out on the phone before you published it? I'm like, I did. And they're like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, here's a screenshot. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, the phone can change a lot of things, can't it? It's like,
it can.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is there's so many different devices with different PPIs, like pencil density or pixel density and resolution. And so how things looked on my phone and on my tablet and an Android Studio where you can emulate them, it all looked good. But yeah, it didn't. So I had to find ways to make it generically fit pretty much any device.
Yeah.
And so, but that was something I didn't know ahead of time. I just tested it on what I had and was like, yep, looks great. But yeah, it turned out it didn't.
Well, I can't thank you enough. This was great. And, for our viewers, his information is on at the beginning of this webinar. So reach out to him, check this site out, list your products. Consumers, get on here and connect with your local producers. What a great way to do this. And Colorado Proud members, we're also going to have another webinar in September, and we're going to be talking with a group on how to set up your own tasting table at an event, which could be another fun thing to put on Stock and Sprout. People show up, taste your products, and what a great way to connect with consumers. So, John, I can't thank you enough. I know you took your day off to do this for us. Thank you. And I hope everybody has a really great day.
Thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.